My name is Mark Rubin. I'm the executive producer at Infinity Ward. One of the things I'm most happy about is concentrating on the new Create a Soldier. This is basically something that hasn't been dramatically revamped since we introduced sort of Create a Class in COD 4. And this is, I think, going to be a really fan favorite overhaul. So it's not Create a Class anymore. We're calling it Create a Soldier because it's more than just your loadout. It's actually creating the visuals of who you are. So now you'll be able to pick, your gender, pick your race, pick your what your headgear is going to be like, pick your what the body is going to look like, and really be more attached to who you are as a player. And then even within the loadout creation, we're doing a lot to change things up, and the perk system, I think, is the one that's most noticeable as being dramatically different. So it's the first really big, huge change to perks since we introduced them in COD 4. So instead of pulling from just one perk from each of the three categories, they're all available, and you can pick whichever ones you want, and they have a set value from 1 to 5, and you have 8 slots that you have to fill, or you can fill, and you can pick 4 2s or a couple of 2s and a couple of 1s. It's really up to the player to sort of design what their perk loadout's going to be like. Well, it was definitely something that we had to pay a lot of attention to, and that's actually where that economy came from. So actually, when we started doing this, there weren't values. Everything was 1, and you could have 8 perks. And actually, we went through a lot of different kind of variations on this. Some of them were like bars that you had to raise. So if you wanted the perk at the end, you had to get all the other perks along the way as well. So there was a lot of different variation on what we did, and we came up with the reason we came up with the one that we did was because of balance. The 5-point perk is worth 5 points because it needs to be balanced against other perks, and so that's exactly why we did that. It's called Safeguard this time around. Because it's similar to survival mode. It's just been changed kind of dramatically, actually, but it's got the same kind of sort of siege sort of feel to it, and it's in the squads mode, but it's we haven't really described it yet, but it's basically like a survival, and the cool thing is it's up to 4-player co-op version of that, where survival in MW3 was only 2-player. So yeah, yes it is. Well, we actually just announced Squads mode, which is our new Spec-Ops, our new 3rd game mode. So Squads is basically it's a little bit broader than Spec-Ops. It's got a co-op aspect technically up to 6 players. There's a survival aspect as well. If you remember survival from MW3, there's a version of survival now, but with 4-player co-op instead of 2-player co-op. There's also a 1v1 in Spec-Ops now, so you can actually do some competitive play in the new Spec-Ops. It's called Squads, and a new offline asynchronous combat. So to quickly go through those, I can join up with my friends and we can play against AI in a multiplayer arena. I can challenge, or I can go on a playlist and play 1v1. So I can play with my squad against another person in his squad. I can challenge a friend's squad while he's offline. He's at work. I'm at home playing, and I can challenge his squad to a game. And so it's a really interesting mode that brings a lot of the fun and elements that exist in multiplayer, but into a co-op single-player solo type experience. No, right now, no. Squads is the new thing we're doing, and the old Spec-Ops with the sort of based on single player type missions does not exist. We're always looking at that. We actually, patched MW3 with stuff that we keep trying to get better and better. It's one of those things that's fun. It's I know for a coder, it's a real challenge to try to handle. If you think about it, people like small maps. So the maps are really small, and they don't want to wait to spawn in. They want to spawn right away. Most people don't even watch the kill cam. They're just like smacking that X button and trying to get back in the game as fast as possible. So you have half of a millisecond, tenth of a millisecond to CPU decide where you're going to spawn. It's trying as hard as that thing can go to try to find the best spawn point. And sometimes there just isn't a good spawn point where every place on the map, every single area is covered by somebody, and it happens, and we try to make it not happen, and we try our best to improve upon it. And I think we've done some stuff with this game. Some of it's the code, some of it's also map design. So we're actually trying to pay more attention on the map design to allow for safe spawning. We'll see when the game gets out there, but so many millions of people are playing it, and I'm sure we'll have some bad spawns. It's gonna happen. I'd love to say the game's gonna be perfect, but I think we'll see some good improvements in that area. It's a constant battle. You're battling against these guys who have an amazing skill to do whatever it is they do. It's really crazy. I wish they'd do something more productive, but whatever. We've actually added some more security this game. I don't want to talk about it because anything I say can help hackers used against me. So, but we do, we have been working a lot on detecting rather than sometimes preventing, because preventing is near impossible. There's really nothing you can hide from a hacker. But if we can detect it, then we can segregate them away from people who aren't hacking. And that's sort of where a lot of our philosophy lies, of trying to keep them away from each other. Not likely. We've kind of always shied away from, because we didn't want players to, in multiplayer, alter their behavior in order to get trophies. So we want people to play the mode the way it's supposed to be played, and not do something that's antagonistic to the game mode, that could potentially cause if someone's trying to get headshots or something, that they're only going around and doing headshots and they're ignoring the flags for domination or something, and then all of a sudden your team loses and everybody's unhappy because some guy was being a jerk, kind of thing. So that's kind of why we've always avoided doing that. Basically, we own the player data, and so whatever platform you get on, PC, Xbox One, Xbox 360, you can, when you log in, your character shows up. Doesn't matter which platform you're on. So we wanted to concentrate, actually, in general, not to your question specifically, but in general, we wanted to have this story be more concentrated than we have in the past. So you don't swap around between different players. You're basically one character throughout the whole story, which is a change for Call of Duty in general. And part of that was we wanted a deeper story that you care more about the player. And the characters that you're with. And then also with that, we didn't necessarily get into the idea of branching the story. And what we did do, a little different, it's there's some levels where there's sort of Easter egg things to do. And so as an example, there might be something as simple as, there's a part where you have to take a picture of some guy's face to identify him. But if you take a picture of, there's another guy on the level somewhere, if you take a picture of his face, you'll meet him later in the level and get a separate mission sort of within the level. So there's some things that happen in a secret sort of way that I hope will really drive players nuts trying to find him, but not very obviously specific branching. Don't know yet. Trying to finish this one first. In general, I think that might be the plan. Let's see how this story goes, and continuing the single player story primarily. If we decide to continue that story, there might very well be a Ghost 2.
Call of Duty Ghosts.